Hello and welcome back to my writing vlog series. This is writing vlog number 36. I'm filming this on the 23rd of January 2026. Today I also filmed a gaming video, and that is Ori and the Blind Forest playthrough episode 12. In the intro to that video I talked about this picture up here and said that if the viewer wants to know what that is about, then they can watch my writing vlog number 36, and this is it. So I want to start this writing vlog by talking a bit about what I did last night, because I went to Aarhus and I saw a show. According to the cover on that booklet, it actually looks a bit like a cover for a record, but it's a cover with a booklet inside. There's no record. I can't hear those large records. I listen to CDs and I listen to music on the computer as well. I bought the program for the show that I watched yesterday because I think it was nice. It's a storytelling in a different format, and it was a bit strange, and all the songs were in Danish. This is not sponsored by anyone. I'm just talking about this because it's rare that I go out and do stuff like going to shows or concerts, and according to that booklet cover, it's a theater concert, as they call it. It's a mashup between a musical, a concert, and a stage play. But there was almost no spoken dialogue in that show. It was a string of songs with a story connected to that. And it was a bit weird and it was a bit abstract. And I watched the show with my sister-in-law and we talked about it afterward. And I don't think that we agree entirely on what the show is actually about, but there is a story and it can be interpreted in different ways. As a storyteller myself, it's a nice reminder that you don't need to have one story set in stone and that the takeaway is going to be the same for everyone. Even though you, as the writer, tell a story in a book format, then it's not a guarantee that people who read or listen to that story in audiobook format will get the same experience as someone else. It's all about what people can relate to and what they have experienced. And so that show is a nice reminder, as I said, that all stories don't need to be exactly the same and be told the same way. It's a different format than the written word, but it's also a different kind of story because it was quite weird. But several of the original band's songs are kind of strange as well, so it makes sense that a show based on those songs is going to be weird as well. It was a nice experience. I think that story is about something positive and confirms that life is great to live, and you might dread the day you're old, but you're still here and make the best of it. And that's kind of what I'm going for with this story as well. You don't know how long you're going to be here, so you might as well get the best out of life as you can. But back to that show I watched. I just let that be for today. I'm going to have to find somewhere that I can put this. It says De Ville Kaniner. It's the title of the show is the same title as one of the songs that the show is built on, and it means the wild bunnies. But yes, storytelling can happen in many formats, and a show as I watched yesterday with music and dance and acrobatics, and there was a band, of course, that played the music and the performers sang the songs, but they also danced with telling the story, and acrobats were doing their thing up in the air, and I kept worrying about them falling. Fortunately, nothing bad happened. That was a side note. I just like storytelling and I like to have different experiences. And as I have said before, I would like to think and hope that there's room for stories that are a bit out there and a bit strange. And if you read it, then you might interpret it in one way. And then if your neighbor or someone else reads or hears that story, then they might think something else is the point of the story. For this writing vlog today, I'm going to continue on with Project Katrina. I'm at this next chapter, and in the previous writing vlog I did chapter 26, and that was basically a read-through of an existing chapter, and that was chapter 21 in the old version. I skipped the outline part I have for the previous chapter, and I'm going to write something new instead, or not instead, to add to this to bridge the gap between what is going to happen next and what happened before. So my characters are still at this football game, and they are fighting or playing against this other team. I have a plan that my characters are going to behave in a certain way, and it's not guaranteed that they will actually do what I want and expect. But I hope they will comply with what I want them to do. As the writer, I should be able to just make them do what I want them to, but sometimes the story just evolves in a different way, and sometimes I just go with the flow. But I'm hoping that I will stick to this outline that I have for the rest of the novel, because otherwise it will be like if I veer out on a tangent and then I want to get back on track to finish the story as I wanted to conclude, then it will be weird. So I need to steer it in the right direction so it ends where I want it to. This section that I'm going to add, I don't know how many words or how many pages it will be, but I will basically have to kind of sum up, or I'm skipping ahead a bit because I don't want to show the entire football game. I just want them to get to the end of the game and then, wow, they won. As I have talked about before, I don't really know that much about football. I wouldn't really know what they do and how the rules are and stuff like that, if I'm actually writing it the right way. The previous chapter ended with my characters starting this football game, and they have just started playing, and my main character has the ball and she runs toward the goal. It's American football, I should mention. But she runs toward the goal, but someone takes the ball from her. So she wasn't really paying attention. And now she needs to run after that person and get the ball back. And then I ended the chapter, and then I'm going to finish up that football game so they win this football match. And then things will happen afterward. It's not the game itself that's important for this story. So I will get to work, and then I will get back to you.
Radio host, my guide, I'd wanted to be your bride. There was nothing you would hide, and you would always keep me satisfied. Tune in on my radio, tune in on my favorite station. I could make another choice, but I choose my favorite voice. Listen to different beats, running down to my feet. Radio host, my guide, I wanted to be your bride. There was nothing you would hide, and you would always keep me satisfied. I love every little beat. We're gonna have a dance contest. I would never dare to cheat. With every
Hello, and I'm back. I have now written a few pages for this chapter. It's chapter 27 in my new version, and I finished up this football game that I talked about before I started working on it, and I actually did more than just write, oh, they won, and then that's it. I had a bit more than that. I show how they play this game, even though I don't really know the rules and other things about football. My main character and this other character play the game, and they're behind, but then they manage to even the scores, and then success, they manage to actually get one more goal, or they get the ball in goal one more time, and then they win just before the time runs out. So maybe it isn't that thrilling to read about. I don't know, maybe it is, but the point is that they have to have this success experience in order to be happy and celebrate and get close together. And so my main character and this other character, Charlie, they have a tender moment and they actually kiss afterward, and people are a bit weirded out because of it, but they seem to accept it, that is how things are. And I end this chapter, this small chapter, with something like, oh, my main character is happy and this other character is happy and people seem to accept it, and it's kind of like this calm before the storm. That plot point might be a specific plot point in the 27 chapter method, but it's kind of like leading up to the climax. I think that you can call this football game, American football game, the battle. And then all of my characters have converged. Now they're at the same place and they had to play against this other football team and they actually won, and now they're happy and everything is great. But that unfortunately won't last long. And then in the next chapter I'm going to have the big climax. I'm not sure how much is going to lead up to that, but once that climax hits and things go wrong, then that will lead into the last chapter. As I have said before, I don't think that the last chapter will change that much. I'm going to add something because of revelations that are going to take place in this next chapter. One of the other characters, a side character, will need to address something that is going to get revealed later on. This chapter is basically my main character and the other characters. Not all of them play American football, but some of them do. My main character and Charlie and their teammates play against this other team, and there is a comment or two about them or this Charlie character being a fag. They tease him a bit about it, but they brush it off kind of. They just accept it, and Katrina, my main character, was worried what people would think of Charlie if or when they found out that he's gay. And she accepts it too, of course. It is a bit complicated. Maybe you can figure out what this story is about, but I won't say it directly. It could be other things, maybe. The chapter is a bit short. In total for these few pages I wrote 1,768 words. So if I don't combine it with the previous chapter, it is going to be quite short on its own. And the previous chapter is also quite short if I don't put them together, but maybe it doesn't really make any difference whether I keep them separate as separate chapters or if I put them together with a scene break in between. In total, this chapter and the previous chapter would be about 4,340 words. That would be a chapter on the longer side, but for now I will just let it be 2 separate chapters. They are as they need to be, I think. Maybe it makes sense to move it up and then have that chapter break so it kind of reads like one scene or one long scene, but with a time skip in between, so I'm not telling all of the game. Maybe I could just not make a chapter break, these 3 stars I tend to use, or just write something like an hour later they were still struggling to keep up or something like that. I say somewhere in the beginning of the chapter that they're behind with one goal. So they need to even that, and they need to get one more goal before they can win. I don't really know much about the rules and how hard it is to actually play this sport, but I think that it makes sense. I hope so, at least. I have talked about it before, but I skipped an outline idea I had for a previous chapter, or an earlier chapter. It wasn't the one before this one I have worked on today, but it wasn't really that necessary. So now I'm down to a total of 29 chapters. If things don't change, then I will end with that number, so that's fine. That means that now that I have worked on chapter 27 today, I only need to write this chapter 28, and I've got a feeling that it's going to be a very long, or quite a long chapter. But it needs to wrap up some things. I actually managed to wrap up something else in these few pages that I have just written. My main character and this Dina character didn't really get along earlier in the story, and I follow up on that. I state somewhere that it's a few months later, and then they have trained hard to do this football game so they can hopefully win. And then they have a heart-to-heart. Dina and Katrina get to have a talk, and they they smooth things out, and Dina actually apologizes for having behaved badly toward my main character. And Katrina is like, okay, it wasn't that great, but I kind of understand why you did it, and it must have been hard, but it's okay, I can forgive you. So I kind of wrap something up. So I got a feeling that there won't be time or pages enough in the next chapter to wrap up that as well. So I'm glad that I wrapped it up in the section that I wrote today. I've got one more chapter to go to write, and then I will need to work on the very last chapter. But that will be in 2 writing vlogs from now. For the next one, I'm going to work on the climax scene. And I have decided that this potentially dangerous character is going to pop up and be a problem. So he is not out of left field, because I have mentioned him before. He has been a problem 2 times now, as far as I can remember. He has been mentioned at least once. So it's not something that I just make up all of a sudden and then put in the story. It makes sense because this potentially dangerous character is tied to Charlie, one of the other big characters. I think I might call him a main character at this point. But yes, this potentially dangerous character is actually going to be dangerous, and he's going to be a problem, and that is what the climax will be about. So they will have this kind of showdown where he kind of comes in as this narrow-minded person who doesn't accept things and doesn't understand things, and then there will be these reveals, and those will push the story into the last part of the story, which is going to be the resolution. I think that is it for now. I can't think of anything else to tell you at this point, so I will end the writing vlog here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will watch the next one. Until then, take care. Thank you for watching.